If you see an amusement park, chances are it's been there for years. Lake compounds have been there since 1846, Cedar Point since 1870, Kings Island since 1972, and even Bakken since 1576. But what about the parks that had closed after just years, months, potentially even weeks after opening? Well, today on Zach Coast Crazy, we will be looking for the shortest lived amusement parks. And by that, I mean actual parks, not cheap carnivals or whatever the hell this thing was. Except for one park, but we'll get to that soon enough. Just keep in mind that a lot of these parks have very little info available on them. So, I may say a few wrong things, but you get what you can take. So, without further ado, let's go get started. The first park on the list is Old Chicago, which was an old indoor amusement park in Bolingbrook, Illinois. You may think of an indoor amusement park and a mall had smaller rides, but this was more like a precursor to the Mall of America, West Edmonton Mall, and American Dream Mall amusement parks, as this ride had a pretty decently sized roller coaster as their main coaster, an Arrow Corkscrew. However, this park had a lot of issues, such as fires and financial issues. So it only lasted about 6 years, which is not too impressive considering those other parks I've listed have lasted for considerably longer. Except for American Dream, which, just opened 2 years ago, but let's ignore that. So, yeah, 6 years is short for a roller coaster, let alone an amusement park. If you think that's short, just wait for the other parks on the list. If you want to learn more about Old Chicago, you should check out Great American Coaster's video on it. It's pretty informative about it. Our next stop is Race World in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It is unknown when this park opened, but I'm going to guess somewhere either around 1998 or 2000, as their main roller coaster opened up in 2001. This was a racing-themed family fun center that had 2 coasters, a basic Alan Herschel Little Dipper called Little D, and a pretty massive wooden coaster called Thunder Eagle, which is rare for a family fun center. Unfortunately, this park had very low attendance and shut down in 2001, just a year after Thunder Eagle opened, less than a year actually. The land is now occupied by a park called Island of Pigeon Forge, another family fun center. RCDB considers this the same exact park, but I don't. They're clearly different since they've opened up at completely different times from each other. Our third park on the list is Hard Rock Park, later known as Freestyle Music Park. This was a major amusement park that opened up in 2008 in the Myrtle Beach area, but it unfortunately had a ton of financial difficulty, so it was sold to somebody else. The park ran for another year or so, but it closed in 2009. This is probably the biggest park in the list, as it had pretty major roller coasters, such as a B&M looping coaster. This park ran for less than 2 years in total. For comparison, one of the shortest lived roller coasters, Kings Island Original Bat, not to be confused with the Bat that opened up in 1993, ran for 3 seasons before closing. And even that was short-lived. So this park ran shorter than that. That's pretty sad, honestly, especially considering how big this park was. If you want to find out more about this park, I really do recommend checking out Bright Sun Films' video on this park. We have our first international park on the list, which is Pokmon Park in Japan. This was the carnival-like park I mentioned beforehand. This park was meant to last for just a short time, about 6 months, But, I mean, it is a park, and it's less like a carnival. It was treated more like an actual amusement park. It was a fairly small park, and they only had one roller coaster, which was a tiny Zamperla powered coaster called Fury in the Sky. Fun fact about this place, they actually had an exclusive DS download play game you could download there. That would last for just a few minutes, but still. It was just a Pokemon fishing game, so not much, but this is still a pretty interesting park. Just lasting for 6 months and then closing for good. Our next stop on this list is Britannia Park, which was an amusement park located in the UK. It was a place that was supposed to have replica landmarks at 4% of their original size, and places where people could show off products like at a World's Fair, but it also had a few amusement rides from what I've heard, so I will consider it. The park lasted like 12 weeks before it closed. After it closed, American Adventure, which is also now defunct, was built on top of it. Our final stop on the list is the infamous Wild West World. This park was supposed to be the premier park in Kansas and a replacement for the beloved defunct Joyland amusement park. Except this one was not only a cheap pile of crap, but a total disaster from the start. While the entry plaza looked very nice and impressive, the rides the park had, they were just rethemed carnival rides, including the coasters, which were a Wacky Worm and a Wild Mouse. And while this park was planning to get a major roller coaster, a clone of Thunderbird at Powerland in Finland, the park did not live long enough to get it. In fact, this park didn't even live long enough to finish a season. It lasted for just over 2 months. That's how bad this place was. To this day, Joyland is lamented, while this park is forgotten. If I could recommend a video talking about this park, I would recommend Rampaging Rex's video on it if you want to learn more about it. That's actually where much of my info came from. Well, that is it for the list of short-lived parks. Some of these parks were meant to last for years, others not so much. But whatever the case, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was an interesting topic. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing or following my Instagram page for more coaster content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys all had a good day.